Yo, what is going on, boys? It's your man back for another long-awaited figure review, in my opinion, once again. There's going to be a lot of that because I have done so little reviews. There's so much that I need to do that I'm super hyped about. So we will be getting into this right away. So, looking at the figure here, this is the Venom Let There Be Carnage figure from SH Figuarts. And this is honestly one of my favorite figures I own. Like, that is how good this figure is. Now, it could be personal bias because I am a big Carnage fan. Like the last one, I'm not a Liberty head. And this one, I am a Carnage head to the fullest. I love my boy Nash. And I think this figure is a great representation of the character because the movie really flopped it. That movie was trash. They changed so much of it that it just poop. They did not do anything close enough to the comic. All right, let's not talk about it because I know this video is going to be long. But moving on to the paint sculpt on this guy. Now, this is honestly one of the best. All right, let me focus it here. This is one of the best detailed figures I've ever seen. Like, every little muscle has nice detail. Every crevice is painted in very nicely. Excuse me. All the veins all over him, literally, bend the knees to get him down. All over him look great. There's not a single paint mistake that I've had on mine. But I have seen people say that, like the head sculpt, they don't like the paint might be light. But I think I got a pretty good one. Because Carnage doesn't, he's not really known for the black around the eyes. I feel like they missed a lot more with the pink mouth than people complaining about the black eyes. Because that's something so iconic to Carnage, but they always change it. I don't get it. Now, moving on to some of the articulation. I'm going to take a little quick here. Bend the knees again. At the head. Oh yeah, and I just want to say it, the paint sculpt is perfect for everything too. All the accessories, they're very nicely painted. They have the same slimy look. Look at the butt cheeks. Look at the sculpting on the cheeks. You don't see this anywhere else. Look at that. I mean, okay, let me just continue. I had to stop the last recording because I said something so horrific I couldn't leave it in. So now, yeah, continuing on and starting with the articulation on this guy. The head articulates super well, goes up to the sky, looks down about as far as his big chin can make it because he does have chin problems, big chin style. At the neck, there is a nice ball joint, so you get crazy pivot and everything, all the kind of head movement you would want, you can get out of this guy, which is super cool because Carnage is a very, I don't know, acrobatic character. He's a Spider-Man character, so you need to have crazy articulation to hit those crazy weird poses that they always do. Especially Carnage, if you know the Mark Bagley era, he did really weird poses, really weird calves and all crooked and everything, and this figure can hit those poses, which I really like. So, moving on here. The head is on just a straight peg with a nub, so you can't really get much more articulation out of it. It's mostly the neck. The head is mostly for the up and down. The neck is all the, I guess, side to side and everything to pivot. At the shoulders here, creaky, moves up pretty well, very well actually. Nice obvious rotation. Spin that sucker around. The butterfly joint too works really well. You get some really good movement and it's all very clean. Like, even pushing it almost to the max, it's not that gappy. Like, if you really push it, you can see inside, but it's not like some of these figures where the whole arm will expose the open back, which I hate. I need clean looks, you know? So, moving on. At the bicep here, nice little bicep swivel. Creaky, but works well. There's also an elbow swivel here. Double joint. Really good bicep bend. Coming out to the wrist. Usual SHF deal, where you got the hinge, up and down, and you move the hand. Get that side to side, any kind of movement you want. And what I will say is they didn't build this guy like a Marvel figure. They built him like the Dragon Ball SHF, using that kind of articulation scheme. And I really think that worked out super well. You get much better articulation and movement out of this guy using that way. All right. Oof. Moving on to the midsection. This part has so much nice detail. It really looks good. Now, moving on. He has rotation here, crunch here. The back movement is pretty much completely stopped by these nubs, which I've heard a lot of people complain about, and I can see why. You know, it is a reasonable thing. They made it so the Venom could have removable nubs, but they didn't do it for him, so it's kind of, you know, like, you could have done it. It would have been much more like quality of life for the figure. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. You can't really see it from behind, and Carnage is kind of goopy like that, so you can just make an excuse. But the way it hinders the articulation, it does bug me. I wish they would have, at least the bottom ones, come off so you can get the articulation. Now, moving back. With this bottom piece in hand, which actually doesn't move very much, you get some nice crunch on this guy. The back isn't too bad, but you can kind of tell it's not like you can't have him getting beat on super well, because his poses are more like crunched over rather than like stretched out getting banged on. That was weird, but we'll continue on like nothing happened. Of course, rotates at the waist too. Moving on to the legs, you can see we got the generic, I don't know if you call it 3.0, might be 2.0 technology, but we got the crotch piece, then the little hip cover, and then the articulation itself. So, legs, insane rotation, crazy articulation on this guy. They kick back just as far. Those thick sculpted cheeks do not get in the way whatsoever. And then, out to the side. It's a little bad, but it's not really bad because Carnage isn't going to throw a side kick. The more front and back is what you're looking for. Leaping, jumping poses, being able to bring it really high up and bend the knees so you have him crouched over it. Like, it all just flows so well, and I really like it. It really adds to the, I don't know, character of the figure. Like, you can really get him in those Carnage poses, which is just great. You can see too, this is not coming through the cleanest, but you can see too, he's got all nice veins sculpted on the legs and thighs, every little cap. Like, the cap has all nice detail on it, and that's just great. It really makes the figure feel whole. Like, nothing, it's not like the full power Super Saiyan Goku where every piece looks like it's from a different figure and it's got a different color. Everything fits very nice here. Now, at the hip, very tight hip swivel, but it works, you know, does what it's got to do. The leg here, you can see we still got all this nice detail of these tendrils, all nicely sculpted, and they're stiff plastic, so just be careful not to break them off, because that would suck really bad. Now at the knee, it's got a big knee bend, pretty good double jointed knee, gets the work done. There might be some sort of a swivel or rotation in there, I'm not sure. And at the kneecap too, the kneecap is all nice and sculpted. Oh, this is not coming off good. Oof, I hope the whole rest of this looks decent, I guess. I wasn't really paying attention. But the kneecap's got some really good sculpting all over it, if you can see it. Not too bad. I think it really adds to the, like, I don't know, it's the same thing I just said with the, everything fits, even when you have the knee all bent. Now, at the foot, everybody's favorite, goes down super well, goes up super well. You got your mean pivot. Oh my God, look at that. You can pretty much just rotate the whole foot around. It's that good. Oof. Shouldn't have done that, but now, continuing. The big toe joint, which this, in the shredder video, I said the toe joint hinders the figure. Like, it really sucks to stand him up. Look at those toes. Oh, but, but in this guy, it doesn't matter at all. His feet are big and flat enough where he stands really easy. Like, let's see if we can balance him like this. Balance is key, baby. Oh, look at that. I swear his foot is not touching the back either. So the articulation really works well, and he balances super well too for a huge figure, which is sweet. So now that the articulation is over with, we have a whole lot to still go here. So we'll hurry up a little bit with standing him up and putting him in the background here. Oof. All right. Next, we will look at the accessories. So he comes with this head right here, the just kind of smile, generic teeth face, nothing much going on there. And then we get the pretty good head, which is the one I like a lot, the tongue out head with the mouth open, which the only problem with this is it really feels like a Venom. Like, this doesn't feel like a Carnage figure, it just feels like a Venom. Like, Carnage, it doesn't really have the pink mouth. Like, yeah, the tongue's pink and everything, but it's not like Carnage, you know. And the teeth looks like Venom. Carnage is supposed to have those weird black teeth, like it's part of the thing, not actual gums and teeth. But it still looks good for the movie design. It's pretty spot on, I think. I think the shape of the head's a little off, but everything else looks really good. Same thing with the paint sculpt here. Can I get this thing to focus? Okay, that's not bad. There we go. Nice detail. Paint's very clean on mine too. I have actually seen some paint issues with the teeth on this head and on the other head too. It'll be a little sloppy, but mine is pretty good. All the paint lines up clean and everything looks sexy. Now, for the hands, he comes with these big open ones. He's got a little bit of a more closed hand, kind of a gripping hand, something like that. One of those Carnage hands. And then this is what I'm actually super happy about. They included fists, which with most SHF and Carnage in general, they don't put fists on him. But he is one of those characters that he like does sick poses, and he usually has a fist for it. And I like the detail of the long finger still being there with the thumb, which is very cool. A lot of nice detail on this figure. And the same thing with the sculpt and the paint. It looks great on every single hand, and they all have the high detail, which is just sweet. Now, moving on to the... Well, actually, all right. We'll do the tendrils now. It comes with 4 of these. I don't know if they're different, but they're 2 and 2, I think. But they have nice articulation. Again, paint sculpt is perfect. You get your hinge and a ball here. Of course, they all swivel. Same deal at the middle part. And another one at the end. So you get some decent articulation out of these things. It doesn't look the best. Like, it looks very... Like, it doesn't flow. But it's still nice to have articulation to be able to pose these a little bit. Now, continuing on here, we'll do like the... everything is interchangeable on this guy, which is sweet. Like, the tendril stuff fits on the hands. So if you want to do Carnage style, you can. Which I really, really like. They could have just given him, like, really tiny hand pegs like they always do. And then... excuse me, had this one be super thick, but they kept it all consistent, so the hand peg looks exactly the same as this, which is sweet. So we'll start with this one. A little bit of a blade hand, a lot of good sculpting and detail on that. I feel like I'm saying the same thing, so I'm going to go quick through these a little bit, give you a nice look. Ooh, baby, very nice. He comes with 2 of that one for each side. He comes with this one right here. I don't know what you'd call this. Nice little spike or something, a little bit of a curve to it. And then he comes with this one, a little bit of like a spiky something, like a tail, some sort of ankylosaurus tail. I'm a dinosaur fan. Now, this is probably my favorite one. A little bit of a blade, a little bit of something more recognizable. Oh, the one thing, and I don't think they even did it in the movie, is he doesn't come with an axe hand, which is kind of a really iconic Carnage thing, but I don't remember him even doing that in the movie, so I can't really blame them for not doing it, but that's a missed opportunity, I guess. Then the last one is this one. A little bit of like a hook, knife, dagger-esque something. Again, great sculpt on everything here. It really, really looks good. And even like these things, they're not hard to put in the back. You can put any of them in anyone, and all you gotta do, grip them, give a little bit of force, and boom, easy. You can get a lot of, you can't even see, this figure's too big. And you can get a lot of good articulation out of these, a lot of nice range, all those kind of different poses. And it really looks good when you have them all together, like all the accessories piled on him, which I can't really do right now. It'd take way too long, but we will move on to some cool comparisons with this guy. Oop. All right. So, bringing the camera even farther back and zooming out just to get the scale of this figure. This figure is humongous. And let's see, move more in the middle. Focus on him. All right. So, starting with some Carnage comparisons. We have Mafex Carnage, and we have Reveltech Carnage, which this really shows the one big difference between this figure is just the size. Like, Carnage is supposed to be Spider-Man height, maybe a little bit taller. He's not supposed to be anywhere near this big. Like, I don't have the SHF Venom that goes with him, but I know that was a big figure, and I've seen them compared. He's huge even compared to him. Like, that's not how it's supposed to be, man. They got a little twisted. But you can't lie. If you wanted to do like a absolute Carnage kind of thing where you have your army of Carnages, he would be perfect for the, what did they call that? The King Carnage or whatever, the main one. He would be perfect for that. I haven't read that in a long time. But now moving on from the Carnages onto some Venoms. Like I said, I don't have the SHF one for the movie, but I have the next best thing, Marvel Legends. And you can see too, he looks really, really good. Like if you had the SHF one that could match the, I'll just say, quality of the SHF, like the Marvel Legends looks like some poop, especially next to this one. But if you had the select, not select, too many brands. If you had the Figuarts one to go with it, it would probably look super, super good, and you can get some really cool poses out of him. But I don't, so I just pose him fighting anything else. I've posed him fighting Piccolo a lot, which is a cool combination, I guess. Now, moving on to, I guess, kind of just some more generic of comparisons. We have Marvel Legends Shriek. Oh my god, that's a real comparison right there, and this one's going to be even worse. We got my boy Raphael. This just shows this guy is so big, it's really crazy. Like, just the size and the heft of the figure alone does not make it feel worth it, but it fills it up, you know? If it was like 90 and it was just him with some hands and a head, that would not be too bad. And I think the accessories kind of push it to be worth it. Like, I'm trying to figure out an excuse. I'm trying to justify spending this much money to myself, and I can. That's what I mean. It feels good, you know? It's not too bad seeing this guy. And now, moving these guys out the way. Oof. And doing some more generic comparisons again, just so you guys can get the scale of this figure. We have a combination of the Ultra Instinct Gokus, and then Freddy G. Fazworth. Again, this just shows this guy is crazy big. On the shelf, he has insane presence. He's like a Broly, the original Broly. He's actually taller than that Broly, the SHF. I have the SDCC one. He's actually taller than him, which I had never thought. Like, Carnage to the top of the head is taller than Broly to the top of the hair, which is, wow, that's crazy. And it really gives scale to the figure. It's very, very nice. Now, moving these guys out of the way, to give some final thoughts on the figure, I gotta say, this is personally one of my favorite figures of all time. It really holds I don't know what you'd say, whatever that expression is. It can stand up to the best of Carnage figures, which I really, really like. All right, guys, sorry about that. I ran out of storage space. Boy, I love my phone. It doesn't tell you how long you have to record, so you just gotta wing it. I knew at some point it was gonna die here, but we got through most of the video, so I'll just finish this off quick here. Like I was saying, one of the best figures in my opinion. If you are a big Carnage fan and have the money to spare, are looking to put that much into a figure, then this is definitely worth it. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the best Carnage figures there is. The only thing that I think pulls the difference between him and the Mafex one is your preference of comic or movie, which I don't really care. Carnage is Carnage to me, and I have all of them, so I will just gladly add him to my Carnage collection, which is steadily growing by the day. And of course, I do love seeing Carnage get some love. He's a very underrated character, I think. Excuse me, who's getting very overused now. He got his moment to shine, and now they're just burying him into the ground. Like comic runs, all this random stuff. They're just killing him. But that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will keep continuing to upload. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.